You're tuned in to RBLR, the home of Tampa Bay's Reveler Sports.
Point Watson gets it. He toe drag, shoots, scores! Oh, unbelievable! Right at point, wins the game in overtime. An incredible move.
4 seconds left. In front, happy moment. The Tampa Bay Lightning have won the first Stanley Cup. And the Tampa Bay Lightning have won the Stanley Cup.
Welcome into RBLR Lightning here on RBLR Sports. My name is Eureka, and joining me on the ice tonight is Chris. What's up, man?
Not much, man. Definitely missed the show last week. I had to, bring the Zamboni over the house and, do a good rundown on the ice in the house, and take care of the ice rink at the house. So everything else is good, man.
Yeah, no worries, man. This is the first one we're splitting off. It's just Lightning talk for the next, little bit of an hour. And while our Bolts aren't anywhere near close to the wagon falling apart, They have been in a mini slump, if you want to call it that. And we will get into the kind of ins and outs of the last 5-10 games. But first, let's kind of take a look at the headlines since last we talked about the NHL and the Lightning. I guess the biggest crazy thing to bring up, it's not Bolt related, but the Vancouver Canucks, all the way up there in that Canadian North Division. They've got almost 30 people, 17 players on the COVID protocol list. How crazy is that, man?
That's wild, man. That's obviously with all this pandemic, there's been a lot of firsts, and that's definitely the first as far as that many players, and that's almost a full team. So I'm gonna go ahead and say that's probably the end of their season, only because there's roughly 18, 17 games left for most teams. Some teams 19, 20, depending on the delays and the rescheduling. But that's going to be tough for them to even, continue their season. I mean, that's wild. I don't know what you would even do to get them back going, because with quarantining for them and then even coming back, I'm sure I would assume the whole stadium's got to be deep cleaned, sprayed. I don't know. So it's definitely something wild for sure.
Yeah, and it's something it's still got to be on the forefront of our minds that, life isn't completely normal again, and you are kind of one step in the wrong direction, and this could be the Bolts situation, hopefully the NHL's getting on top of vaccinations, but I know like even the head coach of the Canucks, he was vaccinated, but still had a positive test, but they think it's a false positive. But he had to leave after the second period of one of the games here recently, and I mean it's just chilling to think that like that's still something that could be on the table that would have implications in the standings and the playoffs and the season.
That'd be awful. Yeah. That would be awful, especially if it happened to us, or even any other team going into the playoffs. You want to have a fair season, a fair game. Everyone's going through it, so I'm all for playing the sport fair. So I would hate for it to even be us. I'd hate for it to even be another team who's in first, and boom, that's something the NHL is probably going to have to figure out how are they going to handle that, because I haven't seen anything as far as if that does happen, is the team getting, just, kind of how March Madness was. Teams are just moving on, but I don't think that would be fair because 7-game series, so it would definitely be something interesting to just keep in mind.
Yeah, I wonder if, I'm just thinking at the top of my head here, but like, what if there was the alternate team, the fifth place team gets to come in.
Right. That would be, hey man, that's an idea. I mean, it's wild, but they're going to have to do something for sure. I mean, if this happens come playoff time.
Yeah. I mean, I hope that's a in case of emergency, we never have
long
to reach
shot,
for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but now, so, knock on wood or linoleum or whatever you got over there, but we haven't had any scares with COVID, but unfortunately what we have been a lot of injuries, and the next time you and I talk about hockey again, the trade deadline will have come and gone. So I ask you with some of the needs or some of the bumps and bruises that we're carrying, is there any move that you would like the Lightning to go out and do?
Obviously, with the Chernak, McDonough, and Ruda injury, we've really seen our defensive depth really isn't up to par as it should be at the NHL level. And I don't know if that's just, we got a lot of younger guys in there, and some of them are just not gelling together, and they're not, they're committing a lot of turnovers and just committing dumb penalties and boneheaded plays that a lot of our veterans, normally wouldn't do. So, I mean, obviously I'm always up for depth. So at this point, I mean, going after defensemen, would be nice, just to add some depth in there, just because if these injuries or linger or anything like that, you don't want to have no one there come Eastern Conference Final Game 7 or game, whatever. You want to have your team there and have guys who are ready to play and ready to play for us and, learn our system a little bit. So, I mean, with the trade deadline being so close to the end of the season, it's definitely something weird. Usually the trade deadline's halfway through, but trade deadline coming up and the season's almost over.
Yeah.
So even if there is a move made, how much time is that guy really going to have to, get used to, how we play our style? So, I mean, yeah, obviously I'd like to add some defensive depth. I think that could help a ton in the long run, especially if you want to make a deep run, because if you want to make a deep run, you're talking about playing, for over almost 30 games, depending on games going 7 games, 6 games, whatever your series goes. And if you're going that far in, I mean, we saw last year in the playoffs, guys go down, guys get hurt, and it's got to be that next man up mentality. So, I mean, adding some depth would be nice at defense. Do I think it's going to happen? I don't think so, but then again, it's always probable.
Now, another position they theoretically could go out and improve upon is backup goaltender. Ben Bishop is about to return for the Dallas Stars, and so they might be looking to maybe unload Anton Khudobin, who, as it sits, he's played 16 games this year. He has 3 shutouts, about 2.5 goals against average, and a .908 save percentage. Now, we've seen McElhinney ups and downs this year so far, to kind of put it politely. I don't even want to. I mean, well, I know we'll get into it about the last goaltender they put into the net that wasn't Vasilevsky, but is there maybe a trade where maybe they go get, maybe not, like I brought up Khudobin, but do you think they're maybe looking at bringing in someone different as a backup goaltender?
I don't think so. I think they know that Vasi's going to start every game come playoff time, and I think we're just going to hope that, like I said, knock on wood, nothing happens to him, because once we get through the season, there's really going to be, even if there was for some reason a back-to-back in the playoffs, Vasi's going to go both games. He's not going to, he won't take that night off. He'll want to play. I know Cooper would probably let him play too, because even last year we had that weird, I think, was it Dallas? I don't remember if it was Dallas series or Islanders, but we had a back-to-back. I think it was Dallas. And that was the first time in playoffs, an actual back-to-back game, which was kind of weird. And you saw Vasi played both games. So, it would be good, but I don't think it's going to be worth it if the price is too high. Sure, if the price is there and we can get it for, cheap or the XYZ, and it's something that we need. I mean, I'm definitely all for, like I said, team needs and depth. And obviously, McElhinney hasn't been that guy that you want to have as a backup. It's sketchy each time he goes behind net and goes out there and plays. And like I said, sometimes the defense isn't playing well for him either. So a lot of it's, team effort. But it's as far as having a depth at backup goalie, we definitely don't have a home run hitter as our backup goalie. So going after Khudobin, I mean, he's had his starts. He played most of the season last year for Bishop being hurt, and I know he had a pretty solid season for the Stars, so definitely be all for it. Could it happen? Yeah, will it? I don't think so, but it's, then again, the Lightning are known to make moves without, I don't know. I mean, we've kept this team together, so I could see it is possible for sure.
Yeah. Now, before we get into kind of the week that was, I'll ask you. As we look around the division, Florida 2 points ahead in the lead of the Central Division.
Don't like you saying that, man.
They've gone 7-3 over the last 10 games, man. The Panthers are above the Lightning. They're the only team above us. Carolina is 1 point back. They've gone kind of 50. They've gone 5-3-2 over the last 10. And Nashville's a ways away, but they are still holding on to that 4th playoff spot by 2 points over the Blackhawks. So, Chris, what have you seen this past week from this very tightly contested top of the division?
I think it's just teams. Like I said, I think Musab asked me, a couple weeks back about how I thought the rest of the season was going to go, and I remember mentioning to him about I think the games are going to be a lot closer now because you've played teams more and more and more. So it's kind of like, all right, we played this team 5 times already, so I think a lot of these games now, man, it's gonna with 17 games after Lightning. I have a feeling it's really going to come down to that last week. We have 4 more games against the Panthers, so if we sweep the Panthers, that's 8 points. Hopefully that's all we need in the last 2 games of the season are against the Panthers, so that it makes it even more interesting.
Yeah. Have you seen,
as far as that goes?
Have you seen anything out of the Panthers? Like why are they doing this so hot this year?
I know they made some trades in the offseason for a couple guys they were missing. Honestly, I really don't follow them too much. Okay. I just know they had a younger team that had been playing pretty solid. And I know, like I said, they made a couple moves in the offseason. And it's just a matter of time. They were kind of on that hanging around that 500 mark or barely missing the playoffs for the past couple years. And then I think they made it 2 years ago, I want to say it was. So, they're just one of those teams hanging around. And I think they're finally emerging. Their players are playing good. And I think their team's just probably just coming together at the right time and could just be one of those things where they could end up winning first and, taking the division. It's, a 6-game win streak for them right now. So, I haven't watched much of them, but like I said, I know they have a good talented team down there.
Yeah, and like you said, we're going to see a lot of them coming up during the stretch run here. Carolina overall, they're still clawing. They haven't made, too much of waves, but they've kind of been in it the whole season so far.
Yeah, they're hanging around too, and we still got 2 more games against them too. So man, this last month, this April, and the couple games in May we have, it's going to be intense, man. It's going to come down to it for sure. I think it's going to come down to that last week, and it's going to come down to us. You just got to take care of business, man. Got to beat the teams you're supposed to beat, and got to beat Florida in the tough matchups, and you just got to beat Carolina in some tough matchups.
Yeah, no, we actually played Carolina over the last since the last time we talked, so I guess that's a good time to bring this up. Kind of take us through the past week as we played, Columbus and Carolina, Detroit. What did you see out of the Lightning this past week?
Just sloppy play from them for that 3-game losing streak we had. It started with the Stars and then the Hurricanes and then the Blue Jackets, and then kind of got back on board there with back-to-back wins. And then Easter we just got crushed by Detroit, and Detroit came to play. Hats off to them. Lightning didn't show up for that game on Sunday. It was a lot of sloppy play, man. Honestly, I know we're sitting 29th in penalties taken, and when you're sitting in that high 29th, that's, for as talented of a team as we are, we're committing way too many dumb penalties, and we're putting teams on the power play. And when you do that, man, eventually one's going to get by, and then 2 are going to get by, especially with the way McElhinney's been playing. You can't give up those opportunities. We got to stay out of the box. Staying out of the box is crucial for our team's success. PK's not that the PK's bad, but you keep your guys out there. You keep your PK out there, man. They're gonna get tired. They're gonna get fatigued. A lot of just sloppy play over those games, man. Really disappointing with those couple games. Do
you think that that's a symptom of kind of people having to play more time because of injuries, or what,
I think
what's
so
going
for
on?
sure. Missing McDonough that Chernak is huge. That shows that those 2 guys are really a key piece to our defense, even our offense being successful. So missing those 2 has been clear as day. You got a lot of younger guys in there. Borgman isn't really working out. We're missing Ruda too. Not that Ruda's the greatest player, but what happens when that happens? Luke Shen comes in, and I don't even want to talk about Luke Shen. So somehow he's still on the team, and yet the commentators, I don't know, man. I don't see anything in Luke Shen. I never liked him. But that's what we got right now. So I got to take it, and I got to roll with it, and I got to hope that he can show up and maybe play hockey one day. I don't know. He's been in the league. I think Luke Shen's been in the league 8-9 years. He was a high draft pick. Just not impressed with him, and then Borgman hasn't played well, and just missing those 2 guys. And even if talking about our offense really hasn't been our second periods have been terrible. We were a really good second period team. We've played really bad in the second period lately, giving up shots. I talked about the penalties, dumb penalties. If we're up in a game 2-0, 3-0, why are we committing penalties? There's no reason to be committing penalties when you're winning. Yeah. Sometimes when you're behind, yeah, of course, it's going to happen because you're playing a little more aggressive. But if we're up 2-3-0, man, and we're just taking dumb penalties, it's not good, and it's going to put us. It's going to put us odds against us because we're going to be giving up scoring chances, letting other teams get on the power play.
Yeah, and if you take a look, just looking at saying a 4-3 loss to Carolina, 3-1 loss to Columbus, 5-1 loss to Detroit, the kind of common thread is a lot of offense for them and not so much offense for us, where conversely, the 2 wins against Columbus that breaks the 3-game losing streak and follow that up with a 2-1 win versus Detroit. Those are more tight, back and forth kind of.
Absolutely.
We definitely didn't, go leaps and bounds above the competition. So what do you think? Is it, why are they giving up so much kind of bombastic offense in these short periods over that little, 3-game losing streak? But it's definitely a blip on the radar, right?
Yeah. We're getting a lot of shots through, so shots really aren't the issue. I feel like we've run into a couple hot goalies lately making really good saves. Stamkos had one on was it Saturday or Sunday? I think it was Saturday. I don't remember, but he right off the shaft of the stick. The net was open and it just puck luck, man. Whole entire net's open and he hits it off the shaft of the goalie stick. So just stuff like that not going our way. And I'm not one to always say that, but right now a lot of it's just bad puck luck, bad, like I said, dumb penalties are going to turn our offense lackluster because we're always on the PK, so our offense can't get going, get in rhythm. And really, honestly, the only line really showing up lately is the fourth line. The fourth line's been playing great. Colton, Maroon, and Joseph have really showed up and, really getting the speed going and getting, forcing a lot of turnovers and definitely creating some chances for the other lines while they're out there letting the other lines get rest. So just it's going to get going. It's going to get back to it. This stuff's going to happen. Everyone needs to relax. We don't need to fire Cooper once again. We don't need to sell the team. Like, it's okay. We're sitting fine. Now, if we're talking about an 8-9 game losing streak, then I'm going to be concerned because this team is way too talented to lose that many games regardless of Chernak and McDonough injuries and Ruda being out. So that's when I start to be like, all right, what's going on? But, a 2-3 game, it hasn't happened in a long time for us. We were due. Sometimes, I think players took the day off on Sunday. We just looked really bad on Sunday. Not to say that we didn't get any good shots. We just didn't look solid on Sunday. Detroit came to play. So, we'll get back to it. I'm not going to hit the panic button. Right now we're fine. We're going to make the playoffs unless, God forbid, but we don't win a game the rest of the season. But we know that's not going to happen. So we're all fine. We don't need to fire Cooper and we don't need to sell the team.
Yeah, it's. I think a lot of that is the kind of entitlement that's happened, being that the Lightning are so good. And right now we're just enjoying this amazing stretch with the Bucks and the even the Rays,
riding high. Yeah,
there's big expectations for all of these teams, and obviously we are the defending Stanley Cup champions, and I think. It's looking at the Floridas, right, and the Carolinas that are nipping at our heels, where we're not like above and beyond the rest of the division, even though we're at the top of the NHL, right? It's so tightly packed. So now it's like you're gonna look back, I think, at these 5-1 losses to Detroit, and you're gonna the Nashvilles of the world or the Columbuses of the world that are sitting there at the bottom of the division. And it's like, you gave up 6 points, that you could have gotten
easily.
Yeah, and it's gonna come down to all those little things, like you said in that final week. So, but it's a long way from the. I could understand the fire Cooper stuff a few years ago when it was like we would make the playoffs and lose, in the first round or get swept or something like that.
Right.
But usually there's a little bit of a cool-off period, but I think right now where it's like, pretty much they can kind of do whatever they want. But when you're returning most of the Stanley Cup champion, I think there's a very in a good way, there's an entitlement that our fans, I think, are very vocal about when it's not 100% of a steady ship, you know?
Yeah, and one more thing I want to throw in there real quick
Yeah,
is you got to think we didn't get as much time off as the rest of the NHL. We won the Stanley Cup. We played a long season last year. We had 2 months off, no preseason. We had to fly back from being in a hotel for 3 months. It could be the team it's wearing on them right now. We're getting down to the end of this season that's shortened. So many back-to-backs, so many 6 games and 8 nights, and just stuff like that, to where the team honestly could just literally be tired, man. I mean, we went through a physical playoffs, we won the cup, we flew back, we were in a hotel, that's gonna wear on you, and I don't think they've come down from that. I mean, when we were talking about the beginning of the season, we were talking about, is it going to be hangover, or are we going to keep playing to our potential? We came flying out the gates, man. We didn't have a hangover, and I think now they're kind of in that little losing streak, and I think they're going to wake up, and as we record here, on Tuesday night, I think we're going to beat Columbus tonight. I think we're going to show up tonight. I think you're going to see a different team. So I think it's just, little downtime for them. We'll be fine. Let's not panic, and, let's just get back on the win column and, keep fighting for that first place spot.
Yeah, well, I guess let's take it to a positive note, man. Who are your 3 stars of the week?
Number 1, man, I'm going Vasi again. For his crap plays we've played overall lately. I mean, he's still the number 1 guy that comes out every night, and really hasn't really had overall bad game this season, in my opinion. It's hard to take anything away from him. Number 2, I'm going with Ross Colton. Ross Colton stepped up a ton lately, man. He's 4 goals, 3 assists since he's been up. Anytime he plays, he's really contributing to that fourth line.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Obviously, missing Mitchell Stevens, who is now back with the Crunch skating again. It's going to be a tough call to figure out that fourth line, because Colton's been playing great, and that was supposed to be Stevens' spot. So, I'm giving a star to Colton. And then, honestly, my 3rd star, I really don't have one specific player. So, like I said earlier, I'm going to give it all to the fourth line themselves, just for overall playing well lately. When you have that kind of losing streak, the team's not really playing too well, so it's hard for me to pick out 3 stars that were, overall.
Do you think there's something special with Colton, Maroon, and Joseph? Are there these 3 guys playing hard who kind of got randomly thrown together, or like?
I think when you bring in a young guy like Colton, and you have a guy like Joseph, who you got a guy like Maroon who's a leader. You got him on there, great veteran, get out in front of the net presence, and then you got a guy like Joseph who was supposed to have this high potential, and then he kind of fell off last year and the year before that, and now he's back up here, and he's playing hard. He's got 10 goals. I mean, for a fourth liner, I mean, I think he's got a lot to prove. And then obviously when you put a guy like Ross Colton, a younger guy, a kid, a rookie who's wanting to come up here and play in the pros, you put that kind of stuff together, man. You're looking at something special if it all works out, and that's what we're seeing on the ice. You got young guys with speed. You got Maroon in the middle, big guy down there who will, get in front of the net, and they're working out really well. They're gelling together. So I think separating them is going to be hard. So it's going to be an interesting decision to see what we do with Stevens coming back, with Cooch coming back, because someone's got to go,
Yeah, and I mean, it's going to take every single guy on that playoff roster to dig deep as we get towards kind of the grueling playoffs that's right around the corner.
Absolutely. I mean, 17 games left starting tonight, so I mean that's not a lot of time.
Nope. I mean, yeah. What's you're talking about 24 points, right? So for the rest of or 34 points, right? So you're speaking of around the corner, let's take a look at this week's opponents. We've got series against Columbus and Nashville. I think are the 2 closest ones here.
Yeah, we got 2 against Columbus today and Thursday, and then Saturday we got Nashville, and Tuesday we got Nashville. So Nashville's been playing really good lately. You said it yourself. They're climbing up in the standings. They're back in that 4th spot. I think they had a 6-game win streak, and then now it's back to a 1-game win streak. But they're playing good hockey, so we can't sleep on them. And Columbus has played us well the past couple times we played them. We beat them 1 game, but then they beat us 3-1, and they play us hard. Their style, their defense is very stingy and stubborn, and sometimes I think that gets into our heads a little bit, and with our fast skating and the way we play. So just can't let them get to you, man. Got to go out there and just play bold hockey and don't get frustrated. Like I said, don't take the dumb penalties. If we can stay out of the box and we can score goals, we're going to be fine. I don't worry at all. This team's going to come together. It's just being 29th in the league, like I said, and taking penalties. That's a lot for a Stanley Cup defending team. You know, that's 20. When you take that many penalties, your team's going to get tired, and you're going to be, fighting from behind a lot. So just got to play smart, play lightning hockey, and let's hope we're talking 4-game win streak going into next week's episode.
Yeah, do you think there's also a little bit of kind of maybe they're overlooking teams like Detroit and Columbus?
Yeah, for sure, man. I mean, you just get a little cocky, I'm sure. And we were 17-0 against Detroit at home. So I mean, Detroit, that's probably not making Detroit happy. Detroit probably wanted to come in here and like, guys, we got to win. Like, it's inevitable. We're going to win eventually. And Detroit played really well on Saturday. They outplayed us. So we had a couple bad, puck luck bounces, but Detroit played well. So you just got to go out there and play every night, man. It's going to come down to it. The season's way too short, and the standings are way too close to have those kind of errors and mistakes if you want to get that 1 seed and get home ice.
And I always kind of think about this as like the 4-dimensional chess, but as a coach, when you're bringing back all these guys, then they're kicking butt right out of the gate, like you said. This is the first real stretch of adversity that they've had to brush up against, and so it's easy to when you're a front runner, and it's easy to kind of pile on when you're already in the lead, but it's kind of times like these where a coach finally gets to break out that little bit of fire and that little bit of yelling, and when you're winning, everything looks great and everything looks fine, but
absolutely,
but now Cooper can kind of say, hey guys, if you want to get out of this slump, here's what you need to do. You need to listen to me and do X, Y, and Z, and those kind of yelling at a winner, sometimes they might fall on deaf ears, but or do you think?
I mean, Cooper's not ever really been that vocal coach. He kind of lets his team play because he knows the guys we have. He knows the talent we have, so he knows what they need to be doing. But the times I see him get fired up, man, it's good stuff because you don't want to get too cocky. You don't want to, think, hey, we're unbeatable, because you're not. Anybody can be anybody on any given night in a professional sports league, So these guys are the best of the best. They're here to play night in and night out. Some teams do give up when they're coaches, unfortunately, but that's, one every now so often. But Detroit's still playing for their coach, and they outplayed us on Sunday, and I think we took Easter off. So I think you're going to see a different team tonight. I'm sure Cooper's got them fired up tonight. Hopefully we're getting Chernak back here soon. Cooper did say we could see him on this 4-game road trip. I think McDonough had a sloppy game his first game back, so I expect him to get a little more ice time here and there and get back into the groove of things, and hopefully we get the lines back together, get them gelling back together. I'd like to see Chernak get back and get some time before the playoffs, and just got to hope for no more injuries, and I know Cooch is skating, so that's a really good sign. So, Cooch is going to be ready to go come playoff time, so everyone buckle in because it's going to be a bumpy ride to the end, but I think we're going to be fine.
Yeah, man. I mean, I can't end it any better than that. I think that's a phenomenal outlook, and I think we're all hoping the same way you are, man, that the Bolts are just able to get over this little hump and finish the season strong here. So, for Chris and myself, Eureka, I can't thank you enough for taking time out of your day to on the feed. We have the Bucks show, the Lightning show now. I'll be doing a little bit with the Rays. The Rowdies are right around the corner. So the one thing you can do for after listening to us for this long, thank you so much, and we're really appreciative of you. If you could just follow us on any of the social media platforms. We're on Instagram posting score updates of all the games. Anytime we put a podcast out, if you're subscribed to us on Stitcher, if you're on Spotify, if you're on Apple Podcasts, if you subscribe to us, like us, you get all of this content in the same feed, in that RBLR Sports feed. So whether you're on social media or you're on your podcast platform of your choice, we are right here for you. So once again, for Chris and for myself and for all of us here at RBLR Sports, we thank you, and we will see you next week.
Thank you for tuning into this presentation by RBLR Sports. On your way out of the stadium, please remember to like and subscribe.